Okay, we're live on Facebook, and I have a an old Soul Speak music video that I pulled out of the archives because I think it kind of it resonates with Ingrid. So let's have a little fun this morning. This one's dedicated to Ingrid. Todd Medina, SoulogyOneStudios, coming at you with a little soul speak, a little bit of blues hip hop. Let's do it. It's a natural progression in the human condition, especially as it starts to be left naked and alone. And we all come to terms with what this apocalyptic gift really is all about. To find the truth of who we are, and what we are a part of. I know what it is. It's I am soul. Hell yeah. People will attack the truth. Well, you know what? The truth will never let you down because the truth is the best, boldest, baddest ass part of me and you. Yeah. So bring down that thunder. This is the ascension, not some junior high drama where feelings are just masked for an ego wanting to be engaged. Don't take the bait from others, no matter how hard it is to break the old pattern. There is no freedom from this world we have allowed to enslave us unless we break away from the bullshit that never worked. Remember, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Oh yeah. I'd rather be crazy in an insane world, sticking to my soul to know what I share with you, with all of you. We are the glue, the paste. Chasing the soul is not a game of hide and seek, and it's not the meek that inherit the earth. That's just a story they told us so we would bow down to the rules. Yeah, we played the fool, but not anymore. Hell no. They were the pimps and they made us the whores, but not anymore. And who are they but anything and anyone that would convince us we were anything less than what we are? Yeah. We can live like a frightened human or live like a ballsy soul. There ain't no choice in that. One is scared to die so much that it's scared to live and is willing to be used, abused. And the other tells death to fuck off, cause it ain't real. And it has the fortitude, the zeal of the prophet, so hell yeah. You know what? This shit's going down. Here at SoulogyOneStudios, we're gonna take in this ascension, we're gonna ride it. We ain't gonna let it hit us like a tsunami. We got this thing, and I want you guys to join us. We're just doing something that's never been done before. You know what? That's what creation's all about. All right. Wishing you and yours peace, power, protection, and big ass love from SoulogyOne. Namaste. Just lightening things up a little bit, getting the day started out right. We got 3 shows today. We got the beautiful Ingerid, Esme, Ferrer, Ezno is with us. So let me bring her on. Can you hear me? Wait.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hola.
Hola.
That was a special that was a special song dedicated to you.
And I so loved it. Really, really love it. It really that really made me made me catch on fire, or what you call it. I really loved it.
On fire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is that the right way of saying it?
Yeah. It's an old one. It's not very popular, but I was sitting outside. I was sitting outside. I thought, what could I play that kind of speaks of her? And then I remembered it, and I just started cracking up. I thought, oh my gosh, she'll get a kick out of this.
Yeah, so, yeah, we really did.
You're right. Yeah, I wouldn't play that for a lot of other people.
I so love it. I feel so honored that you played that for me, because that is so me, and it really spoke to my heart. And I grew up in the 60s and the 70s with rock and roll, and that is one of my favorite musics. So, oh yeah, you really nailed it, if I can say it like that.
Yeah, it was fun.
So
That
thank
was
you.
fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So what's been happening? I'm looking for your picture. I'll put you up here so they don't have to look at my face. What's been going on? What's been happening?
Oh God, what's been going on? It's been extremely intense weeks. I guess I'm not the only one that really have felt that everything is just what can I say, leaking out.
Mm,
The spirituality, belief systems, more than ever, is like it's really uh, like being completely, totally emptied for everything. It's very difficult in a way to really put finger on it or describe it, but the intense feeling that
okay.
everything is just
Live on Facebook.
leaving.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah. No, I said, yeah, it's like, it's like we're, like you said, leaking.
Yeah, because that's again, I'm not that really professional in the English language, so I don't have know all these right words, but I guess you still understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
But it's everything is just really disappearing, but at the same time I feel a kind of power or a force more, what can I say, is tangible, is that the right word, than
Yes.
ever
Yes.
before. It can feels like it's like you cannot, in a way I cannot describe it, because before you could describe the old spiritual feeling and experiences and oh this is like this, and but now it's just it's so um unlimited in a way
Hmm.
that again that I haven't experienced before. Well, I have experienced it. That was in my near death experiences, but at the same time I experiencing it and are completely in my body, if you understand what I mean.
Yes. Yes. And
There's
it's hell on the
nothing.
body. It's hell on, right? I mean, it's hell on the body a little bit and the emotions and the mental. And you know what I'm seeing, which is really kind of cool, you
Mm,
hear, and we've even talked about it,
yeah.
and that's like, okay, so we've seen different levels of projection and finger pointing and hey, they're doing this and you
Mm,
know, but
mm,
what I'm seeing in those expressions is actually people stepping into their power, even though it might be a little shadowed, and I'm guilty of it too, I mean, but they're actually coming out and saying, hey, here's what I'm thinking,
mm,
and
mm.
even if it's a little shadowed, I see something a little bit different. I see people actually moving in the right direction, knowing that they're going to correct themselves or become more aligned as we all become more aligned. So I think it's a good sign.
Absolutely, absolutely it is. But again, as we talked about before, also that the new energy is something that we don't know yet fully. We don't know what it
Mm-mm.
means and how it is to live in a physical world and a physical body and integrating the new energy, or the new energy is your God self. We don't know yet. We don't know how it will unfold. Only that is becoming more. I can only talk for myself again. What I experienced these last weeks, but it's becoming so much more unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the unknown feels more. If you really listen and feel it in a way, it feels so much more powerful. Also, it's like it has no mercy anymore. It doesn't
Yeah.
stop for anything anymore. It
No.
really drags you if you don't want to. It really drags you through
Mm.
everything that you have been holding on to, both consciousness and not consciousness, in a way that there's still, because we have to be patient with ourselves also, because there's still remnants in us of the old energy. There's still fears in us that wanted to cling to the old, that we believe that, oh, this is familiar, this is, I know how to handle this, I know the solutions, all these things. But so we really, it's so important that we remind ourselves being patient with ourselves, and embrace the feelings that still can come up as fear and don't know how to fix things, don't know how to, where to go, to who ask for help. Everything, it's like everything has collapsed, but this collapse and experiencing it are what we, at least what I knew, that everything would collapse and will collapse, will continue doing it. But
Yeah.
I believe that there was something there for me to in a way hold me when that happened. But it feels like nothing. It feels like nothing is holding me, and that is of course because I'm becoming more and more of who I really am while I'm in the body. So you understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, I do, and I think these last 2 or 3 weeks, I don't know if this is what it's been, okay, but I saw a post, a meme, a couple days ago, and it basically said that when you let go of something, and you really let go of it, that after that, it's going to jump back in your face. Basically, it's
Yeah.
going to come back at you because your body's actually releasing, even though that might be an uncomfortable thing or a traumatic thing or whatever it is, it's releasing something it knows. Like it it has been part of the body, and so it's releasing it. So, you've heard people talk about it, and they've written about it, as particularly recently, about why are these things coming back up. But I thought that was a useful little pointer for me when I read that, because I thought, oh, okay, so and Morgan said that to me before too. Like when you release something, it'll come back just to kind of see where you're at. But this one seemed to be bigger. Like, I mean, there was a lot of energy, throughout the, people, and therefore the community. There was a lot of people, on these shows and the comments and stuff, just talking about, wow, what's happening.
Yeah, and Morgan has right. It will come back also to see, or also to show you if there's still something there that is not being embraced, because we have to remember that we have also been soaked in the old spiritual concepts and belief systems, and that is also our being. It's like we're throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Everything is like it's being, I like the word transformed or absorbed by the love that we are, by the light that we are, by God that we are. I see, I read that a lot of people are also talking about letting go, and that also again is like I so wanted people to understand that forget about letting it go, because that is also again a mental concept. It is not love, because love does not let anything go. And I know this so what I experienced in my near-death experiences, and back to the really what can I say, this milestones in my, where I really had to let go in a way, was what I had to, was a surrender when I got cancer, in a way, to talk about that again. That letting go is a mental concept. Thinking positive is a mental concept. I said it before, and I have to repeat it again. I cannot stress enough the importance of really, really saying yes to the traumas that are in us, the human that we are, the human feelings, and allowing the body to release it by creating this open space, by saying yes to our fears, because they have a core. Our fears, our belief systems, our concepts, the core of it all has been to survive, so-called survival instinct. And so what I'm trying to explain is that when you say yes to something, let's say well, in this time that we're right now, where everything is what can I say? We cannot lean to anything that we did before. Everything that was known in a way and felt safe in a way. We was capable to at least understand a little bit or see a little bit of the future, how the outcome would be. Everything is now in a way taken away. It's like we are being thrown outside a cliff, and we're not even growing wings on the way down. We are really learning to fall and know that we will so-called survive, if I can use that as an example. So if something is coming up, if you are living alone or you're living with a partner and something gets triggered and you really feel that, oh God, I'm so angry or I'm so afraid. But if you have so much old spiritual knowledge in you and you instant turn into that to fix these feelings, or saying, oh, this is not spiritual correct to be angry, or even want to kill your partner because you're so angry.
You want to kill your partner.
So when you really say yes to that anger or rage or hate or jealousy, you just say yes to it. What you're doing is that you're allowing yourself to love yourself right there and then. You're allowing yourself to embrace what you have been judging or told yourself, this is not spiritual correct, or this is not mature behavior. I should not feel this, or whatever. When you allow this to come up, I can assure you that first of all, the body will reveal the core reason for that feeling. At the same time, you're not doing the job to, in a way, transform it. God is doing the work. I can assure you, you are not doing the work. The only thing that you do is saying yes to it and allowing the body to, as I said, reveal not only the core reason, because then you will discover that this is places where you haven't loved yourself before. You haven't allowed yourself to feel this feelings, and you haven't allowed yourself to then let the body reveal the deeper truth that liberates this.
I saw.
Go
ahead.
Because
no, I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
No, there's a lag. Keep going.
Okay. So because what I was told is that we can go back to things in this lifetime to understand, okay, there was this trauma. I understand that I didn't love that situation. I didn't embrace, because what was happened to me, because I was in the survival mode right there and then. So I understand now that I can do it. I can open up for this now, because this situation, I do not have to be afraid to go back and feel those feelings. Like if there was something you experienced as a child, I don't have to be afraid of feel this again, because that is also what we are. We are afraid of going back, so-called going back, to feel those feelings that was so painful. And the resistance are automatically coming up in our body. I don't want to feel this again. But when we do that, we expand, and then the body, which is also God consciousness, will reveal the higher truth, the understanding, the deeper connection, if I can say it like that, to the whole, to source. But I was also told that everything that is triggered in this lifetime has actually not about this lifetime. It's not about this lifetime actually, but it is about trigger everything from past lifetimes, so we can transform everything that we have experienced that was not, in a way, finished, if I can say it like that. So everything in this lifetime, people you meet, situation you experiences, trauma you experience is everything to trigger every history you have in your body, to transform it, to get the higher or the deeper or the wider clarity, which is again God in you. And the more you do that, the more you expand, the more you liberate the false self, you can say it like that, and the more you allowing in, if I can say it like that, the freedom that you are. I don't know if I explain myself good enough, but that's the reason why I cannot stress enough how important, because we are not here to become more spiritual. Not at all. We are spiritual. We cannot become more spiritual. The only thing you can do is to really open up to the human experiences we have, so the body can reveal the higher truth that liberates everything that will make you experience and feel your wholeness, your God self.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like the self-awareness and self-realization of the human. So it's like to be in the human's shoes, but not just the human, the divine human, the human that we thought we were. The human that we thought we were is kind of like being handcuffed, or handicapped in a way. So if I look at what you're saying, it's very easy for me to visualize this. I like what you say about, we're not here to be more spiritual. We're already spiritual. And when you talk about that's not us doing it, it's God doing it. It's the God substance. It's the universal energy, whatever you want to call it. And if I look at that and you take quantum to another level, like we think of quantum as in 3D, like I'm going to look at you. I'm going to think that you're this or you're that, and therefore you are, right? But if we look at what we're seeing, what we're seeing from the third eye, from the intuitive, from our conscious thought, where that all marries, if we look at that, which is anything and everything, we have the control of what is created in that moment based on not our perception, but our I guess it is our perception and our attitude and our frequency towards it. If our frequency is anger, then more of that type of stuff is going to come out of what we're observing. And if it's not, then it's going to go the other way. So, I guess what I'm saying is, the engagement in continuity and, balance with the God energy is based on what we do with what we're looking at. It's based on what we do with that. Like, if I look at you and I have all of these warm, positive, elevating, expanding feelings, then that's going to be picked up in the ethers by anyone that's in the proximity, and then vice versa too. So it's that self-responsibility and self-reliance of what's being created is me. It's because of me.
Yeah. Not sure if I really will respond to what you're saying or what you're asking me about, because what I have understood and what I discovered also this year, since I really, because first of all, I was born open and knowing, which all of us are, and I remember everything how it is on the so-called other side, but what I realized, because first of all, God is simplicity, and what I love is simplicity, and simplicity is unconditional love. Simplicity is completely total openness. Simplicity is power. Simplicity is vulnerability. Simplicity is this unlimited, eternal me, self. I'm not one with God. I'm not God's child. Nothing of this. I am God itself. And when I really started to transform all my, in a way, human history, it wasn't that it completely disappeared at the moment and I was liberated instant. But as I said, I was this willingness itself to really say yes to everything that I am and everything that I have been in this human life. There was nothing wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with my human experience, even though I have judged them also terribly many times and saying, what is wrong with me? Why am I doing this again and again? But in a way, doing things again and again, I understood that I really had to take it out completely. Every experience that was, no matter how stupid it could look to others, I needed to take it fully out so I can have the complete experience of it. When I embraced that, when I allowed myself to really say yes to it all, I was no longer human in a human concept, but I was a human that was eternal. I am source itself. And by really allowing this, everything in a way also, or every label, everything that in a way separated me from the wholeness, from all that I am, because it made, when let's say we talk about dimensions, 3D and 5D and all these things, and there's still concept. It's still, because I am not energy in a way. I am God consciousness, but I'm using energy, I'm using frequencies, I'm using vibrations, everything to experience contrasts and aspects of me in this lifetime, and have done that in every lifetime I've been here. So
that's
by
that's what I was saying. I was going to tell you, that's what I was saying a minute ago about the
yeah,
observer thing and what you see, because what happened was I saw this thing on YouTube and it reminded me of
yeah,
you. And what happened was this person, they came down with cancer and basically went home and they did what you did. Instead of trying to separate themselves or remove it, or they went into, this is part of me, just like you had said before in previous shows. And in 3 weeks, it was totally gone. It was totally gone. There was nothing left. And so I thought, wow. So this person basically took ownership and responsibility and belief in what they were seeing. In other words, they transformed what they were seeing. They didn't look at it as a handicap or an illness. They looked at it as part of them, part of the same consciousness. And like you said, they loved it basically, and it conformed, it aligned with the rest of the body, the healthy body.
Yeah, I had the same experiences as Anita Moriani, if you have heard about her. With,
Yes.
not that I didn't have the same cancer, but I had the same experience, and I had the same profound, undescribable understanding that only unconditional love can, when that is allowed. I didn't know the outcome, and I was there was a moment where I just was too tired to fight against it. I was too tired to fix it, and that I understood that the reason why I was too tired was because I was no longer supported by source, by unconditional love, whatever you call it, to continue fight against life itself, because it is fighting against life itself, and I am life itself. My body is also life itself. It is God consciousness. So when you fight against whatever arises in you, whatever you experience, you're using this monumental, massive, unconditional love. That is the only, what can I say, the only love in the entire creation. You use that against yourself when you judge, when you say, no, I cannot feel that. I cannot think like that. I cannot even say it. I cannot even say fuck you or bullshit, because that is not spiritual correct. I cannot even yeah. So, but it's not what you feel and want to express spontaneous. It is the It is it's the fire of your being, and that is what I also understood is my aliveness. When I stop
Yeah.
correcting myself, when I'm stopping judging myself, and I'm saying, okay,
Yeah.
today, right now, I am so afraid, because of course I can have moments, not every day, it can be years between, but of course I can have moments where I'm afraid if I get cancer back again.
Mm.
But I embrace that fear because I'm still in a
Yeah.
human body. So I embrace that fear. I'm not suffering anymore. I've said this before. I do not suffer when I embrace it, but I do not go against myself and say, oh my God, I'm not spiritual there yet. I'm not spiritual mature yet. I'm not free yet. Of course I am. I'm freedom itself.
Mm.
I can allow it. Because I'm freedom itself, everything that is not so-called freedom is being experienced inside the freedom that I am. So why should I go against it? Why should I deny it? Why should I judge it?
Yeah. Would you say that, like, if you look at your situation with your NDEs or the cancer, like what you just described a minute ago, it almost sounded like, because you were fighting it, I don't know, the higher aspects kind of left you. They left Ingrid there by herself as a divine human soul coming into her own knowing to deal with it herself. And then the support comes. You know what I mean? It's almost like people talk about, I had all these downloads, I had all these transmissions come in, I had these spirit guides, and then all of a sudden everybody leaves, and you're there by yourself and you're going, okay, am I crazy? Did I
And that
imagine
is,
all this? But
and sorry that I interrupt you, but that is exactly
no.
what they do. They're exactly what they do. Everything that is supporting you, so-called supporting you on the other side, like your spiritual guides, your guardian angels, whatever, they are pulling themselves back there in a way and leave you completely alone, completely
Mm-hmm.
naked, because that is when you are in your most powerful,
Yeah.
if I can say, transition or transformation. And in that, in my death experiences, in this cancer, that is when I really discovered that I'm God. That was when I really understood
Mm-hmm.
my power. That, oh my God, this cancer was actually my untamed nature, wanted
Mm.
me to be by myself in a way, being alone, uh, in this transformation, so I could really surrender, completely
Yeah.
surrender. And when I did, when I say, okay, so if I'm meant to die, then okay, I'm okay. I'm afraid, but that's okay. And that
Mm.
is when I said before that my doctor called me the other day and said, you know what, you don't need any more chemotherapy.
Mm.
Mm. And when I then went to this radiation therapy, and a short time after, when I had this control, then the cancer was gone. Everything was gone. I was declared healthy in a way, if I can say it like that. And that is also what I wanted to talk about a little bit, because I have to just say it while I remember it. I also learned that when thinking positive, you deny the so-called the duality, the opposite in a way in your body. If you think positive, saying I'm healthy, I'm a healthy body, beneath that there's a fear of
Mm-hmm.
being sick.
Yeah.
If I thinking, okay, I am I am clever, I'm intelligent, or I'm spiritual,
Yeah, that's a good one.
perfect. Yeah. Beneath that, there will always be the opposite. Okay, I have to make sure that I'm clever. I have to make sure that I'm in control. So that's it's enormous stress on the body. So again, I'm coming back to, when you are afraid, when you're angry, know that
Yeah.
that is the body telling you, in these situations, or with that person that can remind you, let's say, about your mom or your dad from your childhood. That was when I never felt that I was loved. Never felt that
Mm.
I was held. I felt that I was lost. I was afraid. I was on my own. All these things. And that is an instant when you go inside and do this, when you're saying, okay, it's okay to feel lost or whatever you feel. Then the body
It's a
instant relax.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you use that example. That's why I was laughing, because if you look at it, okay, if I project, and there's the shadow in me that I don't see, and I'm projecting, I'm unconscious, right? If I have a cancer, and I can still be at the same type of situation and be unconscious of my divine connection to what I'm determining is cancer, whatever the case is. So in other words, it's these types of conversations to me are very beneficial, because I think what's happening, like you said, God is simple. The universal is simple.
Yeah.
Just the fact that we're starting to become more conscious of our unconsciousness. And that unconsciousness can be me pointing the finger at somebody, and, oh, they do this in the light work community and I don't do it. Or a situation with an affliction, where, like you said, you're identifying with one end of the spectrum and you're forgetting about the other one. If you had to pick one of the two, you're probably better off picking the other one, right? Because that's the one that you're separating yourself from, but yeah, I think that goes back to what, I know Morgan's been talking about for a long time. And there's been a lot of discussion on her page and the Soulogy pages recently about polarities and zero pointing. And it's really the same equation for each and everything, isn't it? Whether it's an affliction or whether it's some kind of social issue I have with somebody on social media, or whatever the situation is, there is a extreme on one end of and the other end of the spectrum that are both me.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. This is what we, as we talked about, this is the mirror. We are being mirroring where we are at. I just feel for just put in right now this: if we are judging someone, if we are pointing finger at someone, again, don't correct yourself. Just say, okay, I'm really upset about this person. It can be what that person said. It can be that even you don't like the way this person look. That's okay. Yeah, but it is okay, because there's something there in the energy. And that's why I'm saying again, I do not judge it, because if I had judged it, first of all, I could have then missed the opportunity to understand what is still in me, where I do not love myself. But at the same time, and this is the empath in all of us, I could have judged the energies that I'm picking up, that person is trying to tell me, or the universe is trying to tell me. So again, if you feel for judge a person, go ahead and judge it. Let it have full blown in your body and your mind and in your heart, and telling yourself, okay, this is something I'm showing myself. This is something that person is telling me. I can be unaware of it, where I judge myself, or it can be my sensitivity telling me something about the situation or the person. So again, I'm coming back to this being completely, totally open, which is again unconditional love, because God will not judge us if we are judging someone. And it's not spiritual. We do not damage anyone. It's not that negative energies is going up to God, and God is saying, "Oh God, you or you are not good enough yet, or you shouldn't say this." Not at all, not at all. I'm telling you again, to all of you that are listening also to this, please stay open, because the universe, the person, the situation, whatever it is, it's telling you something, it's showing you something. And do not judge ourselves because we judge a person. I have learned tremendous, and I had so many aha moments by really staying open and saying, okay, I'm really judging this person. I I cannot stand that person. I really don't want to be in the room with that person. And when I allow myself to stay open to myself, towards myself, and at the same time be open to what my body is saying and open to that person before I even, or before I then finally get out of that room, I'm just open. And that is when will be guided. Again, I know I'm jumping a little bit back and forth or
No.
themes, but that's what God does.
But I saw there a lady made a comment on a show I did the other night with Ian Boldy, and she said, if you spot it, you got it.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought, ooh.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. I think there's an expanding dialogue, therefore an expanding awareness, where people are starting to pay attention to what they're saying and what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and not externalize it and say, wait a minute, this is for me. It's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot, you know, like if we say so-and-so this, we're actually carrying that actively in our field. We're actually producing that creative element. You know, we're actually producing whatever we, you know, like you've talked about. But the minute we turn it on ourselves, albeit may not be totally comfortable, at least we're taking responsibility for it, and we're taking that energy off of something outside of us, which is
that's exactly what we do. Yeah, we're taking responsibility for it. Instant you're saying, okay, I hate that person, and you stay open to that hate, you take responsibility. If you deny that feeling because, let's say, it's not spiritual correct, you will send that out. You will not take responsibility for it. When I say you, I mean generally. I not mean you personal. You will not take responsibility for it. And that's the way we have been creating for eons of lifetimes. We are sending things away from us. And that is what we are not, if I can use the word, not allowed to anymore. We have to stay open and acknowledge and embrace that, okay, all of me, everything that has this human energy on it or whatever, it is okay. It is okay. I can stay open. I can embrace it, because that is what we are. We are this power of unconditional love.
Yeah. And I think that the second part of what's coming is, first of all, we start to be more aware of what we're unconscious about. So to be conscious, to be open and conscious of what we're saying, thinking, you know, and feeling, and then taking it into ourselves. And then the second part, I think, that starts to kick in is where we start to really understand how freaking incredible we are. You know, and I mean, what I mean by that is that we're actually in the physical realm, utilizing not what we might call non-physical attributes, and we're entering a territory that the sky is the limit. You know, I mean, anything could happen. We could produce anything. The more conscious we are, you know, of our unconsciousness, and more open we are to our shadows. And I mean, this is not, you know, what's great about this revolution is not, hey, let's hit the streets like the 60s and the French Revolution and all that. It's just, let me go inside and do my part. And that pretty much takes care of it right there.
Yeah. And that is also when we stop trying to save the world. Because
when the fact is, when we do it, we are saving the world.
Exactly.
You know?
Because when we stop trying to save the world, but actually are doing the so-called inner work, becoming conscious about everything in us, embracing whatever we have been told is not okay to feel or say or whatever, really whatever, when we really are staying open, that is when, as I said, we are really then saying yes to this force, this unconditional love that we are. And that energy or that vibration that we send out are monumental. And that is what are changing our world right now as we're talking. And it's done that for a long time. but it is increasing. The speed is increasing. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because more and more and more people around the world are now really waking up and have been in this awakening process, if I can say it like that, for a long time. And we will now see, because the way we see it is not only that more and more people are becoming conscious, but more and more are collapsing of the old.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's happening to all of us. I've
Yeah.
seen so many people that have been out there much longer than I have, and I'm not in the same category. I'm just a producer and a broadcaster, in the way I look at it. These people channeling, transmitting, downloading, writing, that have really been out there a while, and you're like, oh wow, they got it together. But everyone's breaking. Everyone
but
is
it doesn't matter if we are channeling or if you are this producer. That is not actually the most important thing. The most important thing is that you as a man have said yes to really become conscious, and then transform the old programming that you have with you in your system, and what you was learned, and whatever the concepts and the belief system and all these things, because that is making you more powerful, more beautiful than any other, no matter how much knowledge we have, because the knowledge also is what I was giving yesterday is gone today.
Yeah.
You understand? Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but the more you're saying yes to really stay open to all your feelings, to whoever is triggering, whatever is being triggered in you, you just say yes to it, and you just have said this big, or you have said this yes to do this transformation, to do this shift before you came. That's the reason why you're here. As I said before, there were a lot of so-called souls that wanted to come, but was not allowed to come. Only the bravest one are on the planet right now. So you have said this yes. And because the world, in a way, had enough spiritual gurus, even though they are beautiful and are doing the beautiful work, and what they are channeling and what they're talking about are so beautiful, and I love it. But their era is also disappearing, is going. What the world now, what can I say, are needing, if I can say need, is examples of people that really are standing not for something or against something, but are just standing open in their own divine sovereignty, and continue become more and more conscious about and embrace our human mess and our humanity.
Our mess.
Yeah,
I like
the mess.
You know, let me ask you something as an example, as a very, from our perspective, most of us, an extreme example. But can you tell me, like, the mechanics of what did it look like when you loved your cancer, when you made love to your cancer, when you became one with the cancer? I mean, did you go into a meditation? Did you lay down? Do you connect to guides? I mean, how did you go through that? How did you do that?
I'm so glad that you asked this question, because in a way it's almost impossible to describe. But first of all, it started, I didn't meditate. Something in me has always, there's something in me that I never resonated about meditation. And I understood that many years later, because it was a mental concept. It was trying to be, So I think I tried a couple of times, and it was like, no, God, fuck this. I don't want this. I was living in middle of Norway at that point. And for me, going outside. I was living in what can I say, in the side of the mountain, and I can tell you the fragrance of the natures and the trees, and I had a mountain stream that was only a meter away from my bedroom. That was meditation for me itself. When I was laying down in the bed in the evening and I had my bedroom window open and the wind, and sometimes we could have during the coldest winter, it can go from 15 minus to 15 plus the next day. We had what we call föhnwind. I don't know the name on it in English, but it was so warm, and the fragrances that this wind brought into my bedroom, that was for me a meditation that was just, I was just expanded to eternity, to everything. Everything was just beautiful. Vibration or vibrating beauty, if I can say it like that. So that was for me. For me, it was to stand up in the morning or early day, if I've been been awake the night and channeled and writing. And I went outside in the veranda and I was just inhaling again these fragrances and from the fjord and the mountains and things like that. And I was automatically, there come this massive gratitude of everything, all life. Yeah. My trees, the fjord, the mountains, the wild animals, everything. And I was living, as I said, in the mountainside. There was lynx there, there was deers in my garden. It was really, really beautiful. So that was enough for me. Life itself, yeah.
No, that's the environment we're in right now. And you know, we had our car broke down. We were supposed to go to Sedona, and it just, you know, we're in the middle of nowhere, so there's only like one mechanic. Anyway, it's taken a while, and so I went for a walk. I went for a walk yesterday, and I wasn't like down. I wasn't like, you know, but I was attaching myself to the future a little bit, having a little anxiety. But then I started looking around. And, you know, I'm around these mountains and there's a river running next to me and there's all these animals and there are deer in the front yard. And then as I was walking back, this big, beautiful red-tailed hawk flew right down in front of me, almost like saying, hey, snap out of it, stupid.
Oh, you know? Beautiful message. A powerful, beautiful message. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was very cool.
So, but when I was diagnosed with cancer, I knew it because almost a year before, I had a really close friend visiting me, and we had done some really inner work and the whole day, and I was sobbing, and a lot of memories from my childhood came up, and also from previous lifetimes, all these things. And we were sitting and talking in the afternoon, and I said, I really feel so liberated. And she was also brutally honest to me. She really kicked my ass sometimes. And she said, oh no, are you ready to let go of your anger? And instant, I was so angry. And I said, you don't know what you talk about. Anger, letting go of my anger. Anger is the only thing that I had that made myself back on my feet every time I was knocked down. You have no idea what you talk about. You don't know that without my anger, I wouldn't be able to so-called survive all the abuse that I experienced. And she was just looking at me and she said, you know what? You're not powerful when you are angry. You're weak. You're afraid. And I said, come on, please. And she was just looking at me. She didn't feel pity for me, not at all. She didn't cuddle my ego. She just said, are you ready? And I said, I took a breathing pause, and there was so big fear coming up in me. But at the same time, I understood that, okay, this is me being told, are you really ready? And I said, okay, I'm ready. And then again she said, okay, even if you are going to die. And I was thinking, God, woman, can't you just give me a break? But no, she didn't give me a break. And then I felt again this fear, and I said, okay, if I'm supposed to die, then okay, I'm willing to let go of this anger, this rage. And the moment I said that, there was a huge avalanche coming down. And I'm telling you, the mountains of where I was growing up are huge. They are high.
Wow.
And there was a huge avalanche going down the mountainside. And I knew it. I know that something will happen that really will make me die. But not physical die, but I knew it.
Yeah.
And this was
I think something did happen.
yeah.
It sounds like
And
something
this
did.
was and this was not a year. It was half a year, because this was because it was the Easter in 2005. Sorry. And I discovered the cancer, the tumor in my breast when I was in the shower, and I knew it. Okay, this is what I saw when the avalanche was going down the mountainside. And I knew that everything would be taken away from me, and meaning the way that I have the rage, the anger, the fears, all the belief systems, the concepts, all the spiritual knowledge that I had, that I'd gained through the books, through Neil Donald Walsh, through all these big spiritual teachers. I've been reading everything. I knew it, that nothing would save me, not even God. It was just a question, are you really willing to let go, in a way? Not let go as I told you, talk about, because it's mental,
I get
but
it.
really letting go of the resistance, the hard resistance to life itself.
Yeah.
So when I was diagnosed with cancer, and of course I had this really roller coaster. It was like a drunkenness of love. It really made me sick, in a way. I was afraid, but I realized, you know what? I have two choices. I can go against this. I can judge it, call it, this is terrifying, this is horrible, this is gruesome, this shouldn't happen. I've done all the spiritual work. Why is this happening to me? I could do that and really create a bigger resistance to everything, or I could just surrender. And that is when God also came true to me and said, you have to get rid of everything. I had to get rid of my books and to come completely naked. And that is what I mean about true meditation. It's about just being completely naked, saying yes to life itself, to be in stillness, to be out in the nature in stillness, solitude, whatever that you feel, that you can breathe fully, and be able to also be in this intimacy that are the most powerful, and that is with your God self and the pain or the fear, and just allowing it. So that was my meditation. But I knew, and I'm saying it, nothing can compare to this unconditional love and surrender and saying yes. But of course, it will take all of you, because that was the love that I am, that said, I'm going to take everything away from you. I'm going to swallow in you whole, all of you. And you have to be willing to do that. And even not even wanted to know the outcome, because that was, I was told, forget about everything. Even wanted to know the outcome, trying to fix anything.
Yeah.
So
wow. It's like come hungry or don't come at all.
yeah.
You know? Okay. So that was a fast hour. How is it every time I
Yeah.
talk to you? It goes by like that.
Oh,
we got to
is
get
it
on.
gone?
We got to get on to it. Huh? I know. We got to get on to a next show. We had a schedule mess up on the daylight savings. So We're a little bit late. We have a great show coming up with Ashley Lee, a really beloved sister, Ingrid. It's always wonderful talking to you. We got to get your camera going so people can see your
Yeah,
beautiful face.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll
I
have to,
really will try to do that. Several people have
I
told me,
can,
that,
I,
please get your
I can help
camera
you.
up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
But
will
I'll,
try to
yeah,
do that till next time.
yeah, that sounds good. And thank you so much for sharing with us again and honoring us with your presence and your raw, authentic, real truth. We appreciate it. And I hope you like the song.
I really love the song. I'm so thankful. It really rocked my heart. And again, thank you so much for this hour. A big hug and lots of magical kisses to you and Morgan and to everybody that are listening to me again. I really truly love you all. Unconditional.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You take care, all right?
Yeah,
All right.
you too.
I'll see
And
you.
we
We'll
talk
see you
again.
soon.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you
Bye
soon. Bye
bye.
bye.